Three, two, one.
Have you ever felt like someone in your family wasn't who they were supposed to be? Today, we're taking it one step down, from suggestion to demonic possession. Welcome to the Sloom Room, the first horror channel with a disturbing claymation vibe. Digging through reports and stories, we found one that walks the line between madness and possession. Are these symptoms or signs? Hallucination or apparition? I'll say this up front. If you're sensitive to this topic, don't watch. United States, Franklin Hills. I'm gonna tell you something that might sound crazy. People can say I snapped, but there was a call I answered. And if demonic possession is real, maybe that was it. We deal with unstable folks all the time. Even so, that day was different. And it's not like you roll up thinking, it's the devil. I saw The Exorcist. I'm gonna yell, the power of Christ compels you. The street doesn't work like that. It was October 17th, 2009, a Friday, 10:37 p.m., Franklin Hills, Los Angeles, California. I was on duty with a rookie, Officer Dwyer, when the call came in. A man wanted us to take his wife to the psychiatric center. He was asking for a police escort for the transport. Name, Thomas Miller, 62. My first reaction, automatic, cynical, was, dude, she's your wife, your problem. But when we got to the house, a quiet street off Vermont Avenue with a view of the hills, I realized I was an idiot for thinking that. Nothing about it was simple. We knocked, and an elderly man opened the door. Said his wife had been hospitalized for months, got released, but needed to go back. He said he was scared to lay a hand on her, didn't want to fight or to be accused of hurting her, that they'd already been through too much. He said she was upstairs, hadn't eaten, showered, or taken care of herself in weeks, stopped her meds, just paced back and forth. He asked us to be careful going up, because there was blood on the floor. She'd been dragging her feet, cut them, and started bleeding. That set off a little siren in my head. Right then, their son came out of the kitchen and greeted us. I clocked the tight tank top and a fresh tattoo, still shiny with ointment. We went up the stairs. Beautiful house, by the way, can't say it enough. And at the top, there were double doors. Movie scene. As soon as we stepped through, she was there, body rigid, posture tight, hair oily and tangled, skin pale, breathing fast, and in this weird, offbeat way. Out of nowhere, she stood and came toward us. I tried, hey, come here, take my hands, let's talk. She walks right past me, doesn't even look at me, turns, goes back to her spot, like she's on an invisible track. Walks, drags, breathes, spasms. A tremor runs through her torso. Then another. The sound of her foot on the wood is sticky. I see a thin red line darkening the grain. The room smells like old hair and pennies. Another red flag. Then about 5 more I don't even have names for. I'm wondering, what would someone else do in my shoes? The sun's behind us now, whispering that she doesn't sleep, that she prays without sound, that sometimes she just stares at the ceiling and laughs without moving her mouth. Don't ask me how that makes sense. It doesn't. But that's what he says. My partner shifts his weight. I feel his, oh no man, crawl up my spine with that smirky, we're about to waste our time on a crazy lady. I try again, softer. Ma'am, look at me. Nothing, just that breathing, that crooked beat only she can hear. And all that comes to my head, because I'm not as smart as I wish I were, is, what the fuck is this? He started talking to her close, face to face, that handbook patter. I stood at an angle, just watching. Then the woman turned her head slow and locked eyes on me. Her breathing slowed, chest moving short and tight, and she just stared at me, no blinking. I got this weird jolt like, what the hell? It wasn't exactly her looking at me. There was something else in there, quiet, sizing me up. Sounds insane, I know, but that's the best way I can describe it. The sun clocked my face, reading the room, and blurts, I'm a Christian rapper. I make beats for the Lord. And I'm thinking, cool, man, great, but I just want to get your mom out of here without a scene. Even so, another odd thing jumped out. The kid took a key from his pocket, opened his bedroom door, and turned a deadbolt. A real one. Key on the outside kind. Who puts a deadbolt on a bedroom door? Another red flag. He even showed us his beat machine, a heavily marked up Bible, and the fresh tattoos. Cross, a guardian figure on his forearm, still glossy with ointment. Meanwhile, the woman kept drilling through me with her eyes like a power tool. Then the kid dropped a line I haven't forgotten to this day. Sir, this is nothing. You should hear it at night. I said, but she's your mother. Why are you calling her this? Hey, steady. That's not my mother. I don't know what it is. That's why I locked my door. I felt a cold ripple climb my spine, quiet as a whisper. Just me, her, that stare, and the sound of the key still turning in my head. At that point, we decided to go by the book. No hero moves. Right then, the husband shows up with an old photo album, the plastic, sticky kind, 3s, 5s under yellowed corners, no phone pics, an album with that musty smell mixed with cheap perfume. He said they'd just moved here from Indian Springs. He flipped fast, hands shaking, and stopped at a picture of the kitchen in that house. Same countertop, same greasy window, and there she was, beautiful, healthy, shiny hair, toothpaste-ed smile. That's your wife? Yeah. What happened? He swallowed hard. Nobody knows. I ran the checklist. Drugs, history, prior psych stays, meds, anything to explain the scene. Nothing. Church silent. Then the son, pale, looking like he hasn't slept in days, says under his breath, that's not my mother. Not metaphorically, you get me. He meant, whatever's here is not the woman who raised me. Like his mom had turned into a strange visitor, a shadow slipping down the hallway without asking permission. And he keeps going. Sometimes she eats her own hair, like actually swallowing it. And she keeps opening and closing her mouth like a fish. And, he doesn't even want to believe what he's about to say. She tried to swallow her own skin. I stayed quiet, mind racing, trying to figure out what mental illness could make someone act that disturbing. There was no movie ending, no priest with holy water, no scream that turns into catharsis. We transported her to the psych center, standard procedure, restraint wristband, which she kept rubbing for some reason on the way over. The intake, that cold room with the headache bright white light. Her breathing stayed the same, that off-tempo rhythm, like she was whispering to someone I couldn't see. The behavior, too, that fixed stare, empty and packed at the same time, which didn't match the situation. We handed her off to the on-call team. The husband went in with her. I signed what I had to sign, and it stuck with me, like a splinter. The son locking his own bedroom door, the protective symbol tattoos, the kid saying he gave his life and talent to the Lord. Gospel beats in his headphones to fall asleep. The house spotless, smelling like cleaner, and in the hallway that oxidized blood-stain someone tried to scrub out. Ugly contrast. Everything lined up, like that moment in Hereditary, when you realize the whole house was staged for the ritual. I walked in thinking, it's just a psych break, and walked out it thinking, what the fuck was that? Maybe it was just mental illness. Maybe. I'm not an exorcist, I'm a cop. I only know what I saw and what I felt in my skin. A family wrecked with exhaustion. A kid scared inside his own home, hand shaking on the lock. And a woman who, by the way, she looked at me, wasn't alone inside her own body, if you made it this far. Hit subscribe now. In this case, the question splits in two. What does she have? And what has her? The first waits for a report. The second for liturgy. Drop your theory in the comments. And if you've got a story, write to us. The next few pages might carry your name or not. We are the Sloom Room, and I'll see you in the next disturbing animation that pops up in the card above.